Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning trading room. I hope everyone had an enjoyable weekend. Mine was very busy. All right, hold on a second here. We'll get the screen share going on. Okay, you should be able to see. Excuse me a second here. I've got a sneeze coming on. Sorry about that. All right, you should be able to see my screen. If not, let me know. And what a start to the day this morning. You can see the overnight major decline from where the market left off on Friday. We left off not too far off the 67.90 zone, and here we are opening almost 100 points lower, around 6,700. So the market really catching some news this morning. That huge decline starting around 5:30. Pardon me. And yeah, the market falling out of bed. So we've got a huge upside gap, which we'll see whether they try to fill. A lot of times with an overnight move like that, the market will try to reverse on itself early. Les says the ECB speech was at 9 Eastern. That definitely sparked something. All right, we'll see how they react to that. Or maybe the buyers are all scrambling. For those of you who like your first in-sync eagle signal of the day, well, that occurred right here on the opening buzzer. Big decline. Of course, you can do the same thing here on the Raptor. Your first in-sync signal would have come right here, about a minute after the open. I think I need to change. I'm going to change my arrow colors here. 1 second. Uh-oh. See, we'll try something that maybe stands out a little bit more. Where are you, light coral? There you are. Yeah, that's a little better. That should be a little bit easier to see the hash marks. Well, we'll take a look here at the daily chart. Of course, for the NASDAQ, it's often an overlooked market. A lot of people go straight to the E-mini because they think, well, if I'm gonna trade, I need to trade the big market, the E-mini S&P, the one everybody else is trading. You can see we've kind of been watching this whole trend line intersection for a little bit, and we had some rather small bars. I commented on this last week, how volume is a relative indicator, meaning that if you have big bars, you should have big volume. If you have small bars, you should have smaller volume. And yet, if you take a look here on Friday, we had a rather large session with relatively small volume. And the day before on Thursday, we had a small session with relatively high volume. So that kind of tees things up that we know a move is coming. We don't always know which direction it is, but right now it is really looking like the market's going to make a move lower. So I think we're going to be on the lookout for shorting opportunities. In fact, given the daily bias, you may just choose to hop on board any kind of short signal. Mark asks, I wonder what was so significant. Um, I'm assuming about the volume building on those small days. There's an interesting book. It hasn't been out. Well, it came out a long, long time ago by Richard Ney, Ney, called The Wall Street Gang. And the premise of the book is that the market insiders, the specialists, the market makers, they obviously have access to information that we don't have access to. And therefore, they can position themselves more efficiently relative to the retail trader. And to prove his point, Mr. Nee called not one, not two, but three market tops, which is definitely not an easy thing to do, but got him a whole lot of credibility on his premise. So it's an interesting book. Like I say, the long and short of it is essentially that the markets are manipulated and not for the average person's benefit. This probably doesn't strike most of you as a newsflash. Our objective is not so much are the markets manipulated, but on which side of the market do we need to be to take advantage of it. All right, here on the Hawk, we are getting our first micro macro cross signal to sell. We just have the warning dot, but of course, if the market heads lower from here, it will produce a sell signal. Oh, now we're pulling all the way back here to the macro line, which is possibly going to give us a macro pullback. No, it produced a yellow bar. Going to get a late filter entry here on the Falcon, maybe. Oh, way to go. Mark says just took advantage of a nice late filter entry signal. Probably back here. Oh, maybe it was right here. Just kind of trickle down, hit its profit objective, not a whole lot more. We are seeing some test of the extremes, and we are seeing a little bit of a sideways range going on, which, if you're going to consider this to be a sideways trading range, then we're going to wait for the breakout. We're going to wait for the breakout. We're going to see where the market reacts to the breakout. And then we'll be able to position ourselves accordingly. It's a very simple strategy and yet very effective. Whenever we're trying to trade within this sideways range, it's always going to be a little bit more difficult. Okay, we're maybe finding a short-term bottom, maybe. If you considered, okay, so now it's a question of how aggressive do we want to be on this market. If this was the sideways trading range and this is the breakout and now the subsequent retest, this move could be failing and we could be looking to buy the market on a breakout above the high. It's a little riskier than waiting for the breakout and the retest. But it is definitely a possibility. All right, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try the breakout. We're essentially getting a rule of three type setup. It's still premature because we don't really have the counter trend signals just yet. Okay, so I'm going to set my stop order above there. My trade, you can see, set up with my risk parameters as per the trade calculator and my profit target. Hmm, maybe not. Okay, well, we've got a sideways market, as I've mentioned before. The best thing to do in a sideways market is to wait for the market to break out. And what I'm actually ending up doing here is reversing on my order because, silly me, I forgot that order was live. All right, let's see if I get any follow through now here to the short side. All right, let's see. Are we going to get a breakout now? Short. What I'm going to look for is kind of a full bear bar so I can roll my stops a little bit. So I'm looking for a breakout now. Okay, come on. So we want to be careful um, not to keep this too tight. Looking for the breakout now and the retest. And I'm going to sneak this down here near break even. Come on, you made the breakout. Keep going. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll my stops. Ooh, the market's really taken off. I'm going to roll my stops more aggressively. I was going to roll them just here above any candle that had this tiny or a big or little wick to it. But they're getting some momentum going. So I think I'll roll bar for bar. Okay. So this is the type of trade where we're just watching trying to gauge the market momentum. So we see the market go up, doesn't want to go up. Comes down, doesn't want to go down. Goes up. So we consider buying it on a breakout. It was, like I said, kind of an early rule of three. We didn't quite have the rule of three set up, except we did have a test of the extreme. But we come back into the hard edge, and then we come out with the green bar sell signal off of the hard edge. Remember, whenever we encounter the hard edge, we're anticipating some sort of signal. And then we got the second breakout. So here now, the second breakout. Here again, the retest. You could put a just in case order to sell below here as the market comes up and retests this breakout zone. If the breakout zone doesn't hold, then we can anticipate that the market will probably go a little bit higher. All right. While that was happening, we did have some follow-up signals, as you might well imagine. We had a first micro macro cross slash 4-arrow consolidation going on here on the hawk. And then here on the falcon, we had the trend change signal right here. So the trend line changes from green to red. Here's the move that changes the trend line. There's the counter move. Here now your in sync signal. The market falling off nicely from there. And as you might imagine, the Raptor also producing a number one signal with the cloud crossover. All right. Here now the retest of the breakout. Now, this is a judgment call. This depends how aggressive you want to be on the market. You could certainly short this sell signal right here that's producing, no problem. You could also throw a buy signal. This would be your just in case buy signal right up here in case this move lower fails. There is some very, very strong downside momentum here. I'm not sure how aggressive I want to be on the buy side. There was certainly opportunity right here off of that red bar sell. We had the hard edge bounce here on the Raptor. Not really so much a signal on the Falcon, but another first micro macro cross on the Hawk. Any buys, I think you got to be pretty selective I think and definitely just go in short term. All right, well, they're making a bit of a pushback. We're going to get a trend change signal. I don't know how bullish I want to be. Like I said, here on the Eagle, you could already do your just in case entry to buy above that little swing. We're going to get an early trend change signal here in the Raptor. Okay, there's the Raptor signal. We got the trend change signal here on the Falcon. All right, I'm going to throw the buy signal in there. I'll give it a try. It's not your best signal today, but we've got that huge gap to the upside. And if we get the second push on this signal, there is a chance we're going to get some follow through. All right, this time I'm going to remember that signal is live. The thing with the trade calculator you have to keep in mind is that these signals are live the moment you put them on your chart. All right, so the trend change signal, the second push opportunity, we'll see if we get the fill. Okay, we're filled now and getting a little bit of follow through. I'll bring my stops up a little bit and come on, there, giddy up. All right, they're floundering a bit. I'm going to pull my stop around break even and hooray. Kind of a quick little swing slash scalp as the buyers try to get a little headway on the market. It's probably more profit taking related, but a nice trade all the same. I'll take it. And you can see we didn't get a whole lot more than our profit target, did we? Wowie. And now they're kind of taking their time again. What I suspect will happen is we've got this little bit of a sideways range developing. Now it's looking a little bit more like this. Kind of a quick little sideways trading range. We'll see on the breakout what kind of pushback we get. Ideally, I want to see a breakout. I want to see a pushback and another failure. By this time, we will have completed a trend change signal in the eagle, and that will make it a little bit easier to buy. Likewise, we will have follow-up signals on the other birds as well. Hey, way to go, Mark. Mark says, secret to his trading success the last couple of months has been trading multiple contracts and a 17-tick target. You know, that's one of the easiest ways to improve your win ratio is to tighten your profit target a little bit. Make it a little bit easier for the market to find your profit objective. Years ago, when I was following the bond market, because bonds were trading at 31.25 a tick, I would only try to scalp for 3 ticks. That's it. Grab my 3 ticks, get in, get out. Well, we didn't get the break, but we did get the pushback now. Okay, we'll see whether this low holds or whether we take out this low down here. So the market really starting to wind up a little bit, getting itself into a little bit more of a bind, a tight spot. And what you could do if you were concerned about missing the move, you could throw an order to buy in here. You could throw an order to sell down here. These can be your just in case orders while you wait for another signal to develop. What I suspect we're going to see is an early number 1 signal here. The Falcon already producing a buy signal. If you want to get a little bit more aggressive on this, you could certainly tighten up here. If we get a reverse, a bear bar now on the Falcon. Oh, are they going to give me one? Maybe not. Ideally, I like to see two. I'd like to see two bearish bars because otherwise what can happen is the market will waffle a little bit like this, give you one bear bar, come up a couple more ticks, get you long, and then, go the other way. That's no fun. You see, now we've got some selling coming into the market. I was a little bit late. I would have liked to have bought that signal right there on the Falcon. And the reason being, we've got the retest and now the market trying to head a little bit higher. Okay, looks like my just in case order is going to have to do. And we do have a secondary support zone down here. Ooh, we got several. Oh my, we are actually very deep in here. All right, I'm going to throw a profit order 2 zones away. So this here is zone 1. This here is zone 2. Typically, if a market is going to break outside of this support and resistance zone, it will try to move 2 zones. It's a little bit aggressive, but it'd be a heck of a move if I got it. It would also fill the morning gap. So that may be asking a little bit too much. I may end up going here around the 67.12 and a quarter mark. That would bring us near this morning's high, or yeah, high and open. Now, if you suspect the market is changing direction, it's usually best to be a little bit more conservative with your stops, trying not to roll them too quickly. Of course, you can do like Mark does and just grab those 17 ticks. You'd be in and out already, counting your cash. Come on, give me one more bull bar and I'm going to start to roll my stops up. All right, let's make it a little bit easier for them. I'm going to bring my profit target in. I'm not going to put it right here at the resistance zone. I will give them a little bit, make it a little bit easier on them. And what I'm looking now is for ideally 2 bullish bars. That will enable me to roll my stops. It's always tricky when you're trying to catch a reverse. No, not yet. Hmm. Usually, if you get two bars, like two bear bars or two bull bars, there tends to be a little bit more follow through. Okay, so I'm going to sneak this up here to break even. It's kind of do or die for the buyers now. Ideally, my stop should be right here, right there. That's the better stop placement. I'm going to take the chance that maybe the market isn't going to stop me out. Well, I do always have another chance to get back in. We got a little bit of a late filter entry signal going here, but see, this is why I decided to bring my stop in a little bit quicker. Getting stopped here wouldn't have been terrible. You know, you would have got tagged for like $75, $80, not the end of the world. But like I said, when the market resumed its buying, the buyers had to follow through. It was time. It's also why I would have liked to have gotten in a little bit earlier, because logistically, I had more room, right? Before the market challenged the highs here, I could have got in, I could have got out, or at least captured some open profit before the market even got up anywhere near challenging these highs. So, you know, there's a lot to be said for getting in at the right time on your trade. All right, here come the sellers again, as the waffling continues. A very, very late second push on this number two. I don't know if I want to take that. We did get a nice first micro macro cross here on the hawk. We'll see if the sellers have got anything left, or if the buyers are going to just rally the market up at this point. Take a look now at the Raptor. And you could shoot a trend line like this. Okay, this now a second push opportunity on this number 3 signal because we're starting to get the market a little bit in a tighter spot. I'll take a look at buying above this high right here. So we're getting the warning dot. We've already got the number 3 signal. Like I said, this is the second push on the number 3. There's my signal that I'll enter now. And it's a little bit risky because we're inside this whole range, right? You scroll left, you can see a market that's kind of moving sideways. But a breakout higher from here, there's a good chance that we're going to challenge 6,700, which is sort of where we began the morning. And then, of course, there's the upside gap, which we would need to see the market trade, well, at least around 67.25, 67.30 to get anywhere near filling that gap. This now working a number 1 signal is going to be a cloud crossover signal as well as the clouds come back into sync. All right, got filled, and let's see if we get the follow through. Pretty please. This stop is a little bit cozy. The stop below here would be a little bit better. Come on, let's get a little bit more follow through. There we go. Okay, they're struggling a little bit now at the highs. Give me one more bullish bar and I'm going to roll my stops up. In fact, I could probably roll my stops up a little bit anyhow. Oh, I don't like the way they're fighting. There we go. All right, let's get this up here to break even now. Whew. That was tough. Now, like I said, now that we're above here, there's a very good chance we're going to challenge 6,700, which is where the day began, and a very good chance we're going to fill at least one zone of our support and resistance zone. If you choose to hang on to that trade. I'm okay taking my profit target. You know, everybody is different. There's going to be things that suit your personality better. For some people, it's going to be having the runner in play. You know, some people hate to look at a chart and see that monster move and they're not in it, just drives some people bonkers. For other people, it drives them bonkers not to have their capitalize on their profit when they have it. So one thing about trading, you're going to find out a lot about yourself. What type of person you are, what kind of things you can tolerate or don't want to tolerate. Well, if I were doing my trading quota now, I would be done. I've done my 3 trades. I am profitable. And so my day would be finished. So the way you increase your earnings now is not to trade more often, but rather to build your account to the point where you can trade multiple contracts. I call it the biggest secret in trading. And so many people, don't give it a second thought. They think in order to be successful trading, they need to trade 20 times a day, 50 times a day. I shared with you a fellow years ago now came to me for coaching. He said, Eric, I want you to teach me to be a scalper. I want you to show me how to trade 100 times a day. And I said, you will never make money trading 100 times a day. Not that I couldn't show him 100 signals a day. I can show you 100 signals a day. It's not that difficult. But what is difficult is to be consistently profitable 100 times a day. That's the tricky part. Much easier to be profitable 2 or 3 or 4 times throughout the day. Yeah, like Mark says, but as a moderator, you must forge ahead and continue. Besides, who wants to be glued to their computer for 6 hours a day? Or if you're trading Forex, I know a fellow who sets his alarm because he's watching a 4-hour Forex chart, and he will check his charts every 4 hours, day and night, to see if he has a signal. I don't want to work that hard. I'm I'm doing this because I want it to be easier, not harder. Shoot, if I want to work hard, I'll go get a job. All right. Well, we're continuing to produce some buy signals. Like I said, I do suspect the market will continue higher. Here, a nice macro pullback in the hawk. It's going to piggyback on a four arrow consolidation if we produce another buy signal. We're working a possible late filter entry signal here now on the Falcon. But in spite of that upside break, things still quite slow. Here's the daily chart once again. You can see we've recovered all of Friday's range, including the overnight. But really, we haven't moved all that far just yet. A break below here, below that tiny little swing, will encourage more aggressive selling, as will a break above these highs. You can see we have a little bit of a double top. A break above these highs will encourage buying. But for the last week or so, we're more or less flat. All right, so the hawk hitting its profit objective off that macro pullback / four arrow consolidation. Quick little uptick there. The Falcon working the late filter entry signal, kind of challenging or slowing as they're challenging the highs a bit. It should push through. It's made a new high relative here. It should have a little bit more follow through to it. And the back and forth drift continues. And a little more back and forth. All right, there's very little follow through now to the long side, making me wonder whether or not we're going to see another move lower. After all, the overall trend today is down. All right, getting a little bit of a bearish break now with the number 2 signal here on the Raptor. Okay, we'll see if we get a second push opportunity on that. And all that means is I'm going to allow the signal to print, and then I'm going to look for an opportunity for the market to print a bullish bar, after which I'm going to enter below that bullish bar. The idea behind it is that I want to make sure there's actually some downside momentum before I try to get in. And is that it? Is that all I'm going to get? Is that bullish bar trying to form right there? I don't want to let this market run too far. Pardon me. All right, I'll throw the order in. It's not really a bullish bar. It did have bullish tendencies, but if the market is going to head lower from here, that might be all I'm going to get. market in a little bit of a bind. We do have the opportunity to short below here. We have the opportunity to buy on a move above here. See now if we get that follow through. Come on, you can do it. All right, we've hit the hard edge. I'm going to roll my stops up here a little bit, just in case there's a reaction to the hard edge before the market hopefully trickles down to my profit objective. Hopefully, come on. Don't look back too far. Oh, yes, stinkers. I still think I had the right idea there, but the market's a little short in the follow-through department right now. There they go. Kind of sneaking a little bit lower. Would have hit my profit target anyways. I guess I was a little bit too quick with my stop. And you can see the reaction now to the hard edge. Why you always need to be so careful around the hard edge as the market makes a little bit of a pushback again. I suspect we're going to keep going a little bit sideways here. If I had to guess, I would say we're going to retest the highs, and then we're either going to have a double top or we're going to have a breakout. Essentially building another little itty bitty sideways trading range. right, here now with the bullish push, we've got the number one signal here on the Raptor. Oh, are you going to give me a chance? I think I'm too late on that. All right, well, let's see. We've broken the high here, looking for a reaction now. The second push, I'm going to hold up for 2 bear bars. Oh, come on. Getting a lot of back and forth here. So we've had the breakout. I'm looking for the retest. And here is the breakout. I'm looking for the retest. Actually, the hawk is already producing a first micro macro cross signal. If you wanted to be a little bit more aggressive on the trade, there's your hawk signal, and I'm going to roll it up here, my entry. And take my exit order out of the way. So here's the breakout. Here's the retest now. Looking for the buyers to resume the uptrend. And if they can't do that, there's a chance the sellers will try to move the market lower. Okay, a macro pullback. I could tighten my order if I chose to get in a little bit earlier. But given that we're so sideways right now, and generally speaking, very, very slow, I think I will err on the side of caution and leave my buy order up here. Well, the trend change signal on the Falcon working out pretty good right here. We are sneaking up on the lunch hour as well. Not quite, still got about a half an hour before traders kind of get into their lunch hour mode. All right, that's not behaving the way I wanted it to, so let me cancel that. We do have a macro pullback signal right now, if you wanted to try to buy into that a little bit earlier. And here come the sellers again. All right, we got a first micro macro cross to sell now, but again, because everything is so sideways, I think I'm going to wait for a second push opportunity unless something really jumps out at me. But I am looking for an excuse to get short. The fact that the buyers did not follow through, did not get into that gap, the morning gap. The gap will fill one day, but not today. Oh, are they not going to give me a chance to get on board here? I'm just looking for any old sell signal right now. Okay, we should get a number one signal on the Raptor. As the clouds cross, that first micro macro cross here on the Hawk working out pretty good. Should get a trend change signal on the Falcon, and that should coincide with the number one signal here on the Raptor. Still a little bit concerned about the market being so sideways. And I may extend my order all the way down here, depending where it actually ends up printing. In fact, why don't I do that? I'm going to put my just in case order right down there below those lows. This is actually a continuation of the Eagle signal. I do believe the Eagle printed a signal a little bit earlier. So what I'm looking for here is will be an early cloud crossover signal. The cloud's not fully crossed, but almost fully crossed. And so the next sell signal would be an early number one. The proper number one signal will print when the clouds are fully in sync, when they're fully crossed over. You can see we've got a little bit of a warning dot going on. And these ranges, these swings are more or less equal in length. You see the move up, the move down, the move up, the move down, which tells me that the market is fairly balanced at this point. All right, well, they're not liking the idea of heading any lower, so we'll scrub that for now, put it back on the shelf. And there we are, kind of sideways again. Okay, depending how aggressive you want it to be, you did just produce a number 2 signal here to buy. Generally speaking, if the market doesn't want to go down, it will try to go up. But like I said, that's kind of an aggressive posture. If we get like a bearish bar here so that we can call it a second push, a proper second push entry, you might try it, but it's really going to be a crapshoot. It's one of those, let's flip a coin and heads we buy, tails we sell type trades. But there's enough room in here, providing the market doesn't run too much higher without producing the signal first. There's enough room in here to see a retest of the high and still hit your profit objective. That's what would make that favorable. All right, I'll show it to you. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but there it is at any rate. And you can see how we can find our profit target before we get too close to challenging the highs. And after that, we're going to probably wrap up shop here for the morning. All right, everyone. So we'll call it a day, and I will wrap things up here now. As the market pulls away again. So let me cancel these orders. All right, well, be careful out there. The market is probably going to continue moving back and forth. When in doubt, the trend to me does seem to be down. So you'll probably do better shorting than trying to buy. All right, good day overall. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.